Deep Rising is an R-rated action-adventure horror film released in January of 1998. It is written and directed by Stephen Sommers and stars Treat Williams, Famke Janssen, Anthony Held, Kevin J. O'Connor, and Wes Studi. The basic storyline is a group of heavily armed hijackers board a luxury ocean liner in the South Pacific Ocean in order to loot it, only to do battle with a series of large-sized, tentacled, man-eating sea creatures who have already invaded the ship. It had a budget of $45 million and grossed just over $11 million. Ouch. It is on Roger Ebert's most hated list, but we love it and are going to talk about why we love it on this very first episode of I Love This Movie. And by we, I mean myself and my guest. And my guest is Chris from Bad Movie Night. Welcome, Chris, to my channel.
Thank you, Lindsay. This is going to be a treat, I think, to
I don't
talk
know.
about Deep Rising.
Yes, it is very much a treat to talk about this movie, a movie we've referenced many times on the podcast.
I forgot. I had a whole bit. I was going to wear my glasses and put them down on my nose like Anthony, whatever his name is
Anthony
in this
Held.
movie. Anthony Held, because glasses are always in like the brim of his nose.
Does he ever, not play a sleazebag?
No, but he's really good at it, so it
He
doesn't
is
matter.
really good at it. This role and Dr. Chilton and all the Hannibal Lecter movies.
That's the only thing I recognize him from.
Me too. I know he's done other stuff, but I'm like, that's
Yeah.
Dr. Chilton.
Yeah.
He's such a douche.
Will you be in Baltimore overnight? Because this can be quite a fun town if you have the right guide.
Deep Rising didn't do too well when it first opened, probably because it came out the month after Titanic.
and what a fitting fate for this movie as well. Sank
Right?
right at the box.
Oh my gosh. But this movie went through so much hell to get made because it was supposed to come out the previous summer, but then it got pushed back, one, because of the VFX issues. They were just trying to figure out how to do that because the studio wanted them to do it all in-house, and then they ended up bringing in ILM later. But also because they didn't want it to compete with their summer blockbuster, Con Air.
Really? It's so different, though. So
Yeah.
different. I mean, but Stephen Sommers, this is before The Mummy, right? Like, right before
Yes,
The Mummy.
the year before.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he got
and
lucky with The Mummy.
I love The Mummy. It's super fun.
Yeah.
And Jerry Goldsmith did the music for this and The Mummy. And there's a couple
Okay.
actors from this that are in The Mummy
Yeah.
as well. So I guess they liked working with him, unlike some other actors. Like Claire Forlani, she was originally supposed to be Famke Janssen's character, but she quit like a week in because evidently she did not get along with him.
I know Claire Forlani, but she always seems more dramatic to me. Like, Famke Janssen played this pretty good.
She
I
did.
think, like,
She had the right sense of humor about
tongue in
it.
cheek, yeah.
For burglary, robbery, forgery, oh, and attempted murder?
My ex-boyfriend.
I really like the thing about this movie and these 90s movies, which are kind of like, I think they have more reverence now, but like people always talk about the 80s movies. Everybody loves the 80s horror movies, and so do I. But I
Yes.
was born in the 80s, but I grew up in the 90s.
Yeah, me too.
So these movies, like Screamers, The Relic, 13 Ghosts, like all that kind of crap is really nostalgic for me. This included. So
Yeah, when did you first see this movie? Did you see it when it first came out?
man, I don't know. Probably right around there. Probably when it came out. I didn't see it in theaters, but probably when it came out on like DVD or VHS or whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I went and saw it in the theater, but I can't remember 100%. But it just got so steamrolled by Titanic that I don't think it had a chance. And I don't know why. I think it is a victim of just timing.
Yeah.
Because it's such a fun movie, and I don't know if they just didn't market it correctly or what.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is a weird movie though too for me. Like, I guess I guess like a comparison nowadays would maybe be like something like Army of the Dead.
Oh, scheiße.
Something along the lines where it's like actually a really big budget horror kind of thing, but it's so filed down in its horror elements to be more appealing to, the big audience.
Yeah.
So, like those other movies I mentioned that came out in similar times, their budgets were probably like a quarter of this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like 13 Ghosts, House on Haunted Hill, The Relic, all that kind of crap. Like they had like one name, maybe two recognizable actors in small locations. This thing had like some crazy effects,
Yes, it did.
tons of actors, even though I think a lot of them were early in their career, but you can go back now and like, that's Cliff Curtis. That's, you know what I mean? Like all these people who are like pretty well known nowadays.
Yeah, and I mean, Harrison Ford, it was originally meant to go to him, have him and Treat Williams' character, which makes so much sense when you watch
Yes.
the movie because it's just like Harrison Ford light.
Oh my God. I watched this with my wife, she doesn't watch horror movies. So
Yeah.
keep that. Like she sat down and she's like, what the fuck are you watching? I'm like, it's Deep Rising. She had no idea what it was, but it wasn't scary enough or anything to bother her. And the first thing she said was, "Is he trying to be like Harrison Ford?" And I was like, "Oh my God, yes, you're right. I never
Yes.
really thought about it."
Well, because he's like supposed to be the handsome, calm, devil may care kind of suave guy, and with the little little punchy, funny one-liners, and it's like that was a role written for Harrison Ford. But I think Treat Williams pulls it off pretty well.
I got a really bad feeling about this.
Okay. I'm not a big Treat Williams fan.
No, you don't like the Substitute sequels?
I've never seen the Substitute sequels. I've
Oh
only
my
seen
gosh.
the Tom Berenger one where he's
Yeah.
like, "You tried to learn math? Well, fuck you," and he throws kids out of windows or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I think it's something along those
It's
lines.
pretty much that.
I'll have to
No,
check those out.
You
yeah.
should, because I think it's like 2, 3, and I think there might even be a fourth one, but I'm not
Hell
100% sure. Treat Williams. But now he's doing like Hallmark movie channel stuff. So,
I think he has like that, what you described, that like light Harrison Ford charm, sort of, but the look is like if we made him look like Tim Allen or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like,
he's kind of got a dad vibe to him.
yes, he's not like his body, like he's not like out of shape or anything. You never
No.
see him without a shirt, but it just doesn't look like I don't know. Harrison Ford is just super attractive, I guess.
He
He's
is.
kinda like
He's so
normal
good
dude.
looking. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's so charismatic. It's just,
I think it sticks out to me more because they're like, "Hey, Famke Jensen, you're like 23 years old. Don't you find this 45-year-old guy who looks like a dentist really attractive?" And I'm like, no. No, nobody does. No offense, Treat. Somebody does. I'm sorry. I take it back.
I don't think he's a terrible looking guy. For an older dude, he's kind
Sure.
of got the dad thing going on. But,
Yeah. Let's not criticize that. I mean, that's a choice, I think.
Right? And like you said, it's got Famke Janssen in it. At this point, she'd just gotten done with Goldeneye.
Oh, really?
She'd just done her Bond girl thing. She was Xenia Onatop, I think was her Bond girl name.
Ksenia Sergeyevna Onatop.
On the top?
Onatop.
And she would like kill men by like squeezing them with her thighs.
Of course.
So yeah, but but this was before the X-Men trilogy and everything. But
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
she
she
was
did a
in
pretty
that
good
too.
job.
Those have become so convoluted. I forget who's involved, but she was like the original Jean Grey or something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she pops up at the end of Days of Future Past.
God damn, I don't know which one that is, but I have seen them all. Is that the one
That's-
with Peter Dinklage?
Yes. Where they go.
And Kevin
this-
Bacon's in that too, right?
Yeah. No, that's First Class.
Oh.
It's all over the place. No, this is the one where they send Hugh Jackman back into his mind back in the 70s or 8. I don't know.
I'll take your word for that.
Yeah. And then
I
Anthony Held is the owner of the Argonautica. Was that the name of the damn
I don't know.
boat?
He said it, and then I watched the trailer for it again, and he said, and then I watched the scene again. And he's like, "The Argonautica," and I'm like, I don't know what that
Cheering.
means, dude. Yeah, it's a great scene though.
To the Argonautica! Good times forever!
Because isn't the Argonaut like a ship in Greek mythology? Something
Maybe.
like that. I don't think it has any. It doesn't reference anything within the film other than it being a ship. But
I thought it was like the first time I thought he said the Aquanautica or something. I was like, all right, whatever. But that scene, like, that really showcases some of the budget there. I don't know where they're shooting, if it was a set or if it's actually like a boat or if it's just a building, but it's like 3 stories tall, a million extras. Everybody's like choreographed and performing. It's like, okay, we got some money on this movie.
right, and I've never. Have you ever been on a cruise ship? I've never been on
No.
a cruise ship. I don't
No.
think I will ever want to go on a cruise ship.
No, man, they all sink. I've seen these movies. They either sink or they get overrun by giant monsters from the ocean.
Right? And this is supposed to be like an Uber upscale one, which I don't know if that even exists because most of the time it's pretty much just cram in as many people as possible and shove them full of food and drink, and that's about it.
Yeah, I feel like if you're super wealthy, you just buy your own.
Yeah, I
Like
don't think
big
you'd
boat,
want to
yeah.
go on a cruise ship. It just
No.
and maybe that's why he ends up wanting to sink it.
Problem is that the cost of keeping it operating is a hell of a lot more than we're ever gonna take in. You mean we're all gonna die because you screwed up on the math? I simply misjudged the market!
I do like that aspect of the movie, though, where literally everyone in this movie is just out for money.
Yes. Yeah, because the mercenaries are, Treat Williams and his crew are, they'll take as long as the cash is there, they won't ask any questions. And the head guy who wants to sink his own ship for the insurance money is just in it for the money. And Famke Janssen is just in it for the money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's fun. Like all the characters in this movie are very, very simple, but kind of defined in their own ways. They all have their little shtick. They're all very entertaining in some ways.
Yes. And there's Wes Studi, who plays the leader of the mercenary crew, and he's got a colorful cast of characters that he's running. Because you have Cliff Curtis, who's probably the most recognizable one. He's done a ton of stuff. He was in Training Day, and he's in, I think, all of the Avatar sequels that are upcoming.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what he plays, but most of them say post-production are now shooting, like up to the 6th one, I want to say,
Holy shit.
is on his IMDb. But then I can't remember the names of the rest of them, but there's like the British guy, there's the guy who smokes, there's Kano from Mortal Kombat.
That's what that guy, the guy with the thing, in the Australian guy?
Yes, he had the lines in his haircut.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Trevor Goddard or something like that.
Hello, baby.
And then you had Jaimin Hunsu.
Yes. He's probably the most successful, right?
I think so. But he's done so many of these smaller roles in big budget action stuff because he was in
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and he just
Yeah.
had a real small part. He
Quiet
was
Place
in
2.
Quiet Place 2, where he had
Yeah.
a small part, but he always does a good job. And he
Yeah,
had
he's
one of the coolest deaths in the movie.
He's very recognizable. What was his death? Well,
He got the
yeah,
axe to the face.
Oh my god, that was shocking. Yes, that was awesome. Yeah, the only thing is I wanted to say when we were talking about Famke Janssen, I read somewhere that she complained that they kept saying how they wanted her to look pretty or something. And Stephen Summers was like, when you're not the romantic lead in a movie, you cannot look pretty or something.
I mean, Famke Janssen, I think she's a decent actress, but you don't hire her for her
Yeah.
You don't hire her for her
I don't-
acting. She's a very attractive woman, and you
Yeah.
want her to be an attractive woman in your movie.
Yeah, that's why
So
you
I
hire
can
Treat
understand.
Williams, because you're looking for that That dad bod.
Maybe her character had daddy issues. I don't
Hey,
know.
maybe.
It's possible.
Well,
She
I-
leads a life of crime, so.
I watched Jurassic Park yesterday with my family, and we were looking up like how old everyone was. And Sam Neill was like in his 40s, and Laura Dern was like 20.
She was
or
that
24.
young?
She was like 24, 25
Wow.
or something. And Amy was like, yeah, that's of course. But then it was like, yeah, but Sam Neill is really good looking and cool. And he's like, she's like, okay, yeah, he is. I would, yeah, probably. Yeah, I was like, exactly.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
My
How old
point
was
is,
Jeff Goldblum?
he was like 40 something as well.
Okay.
Point is, you should have taken out the treat, put in Sam Neill. Actually,
That
I don't
probably
know.
could've worked.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Put Sam Neill in anything.
they look similar, but I don't know if he could handle all the action stuff.
No, probably not.
But
He's not as fit as Treat Williams.
no. And his dad bod. He probably wears those dad shoes too. Those like that look like hiking shoes.
Oh yeah, my dad has those. I think Aaron has those.
Oh
Anyways,
my god, my husband wears those, and I'm like, oh, my dad wore those. This is awkward.
I don't know, but it's hard to stay cool when you got kids and stuff. So you're like,
It
I guess
is.
I'm just going for comfort.
Right? They're comfortable and they'll last a long time, and they match everything. So
I did think of you when I was watching this movie because you keep talking about your VHS stuff, and I was like, you know what? This would be a much more fun experience if I was watching this on an old TV on VHS.
Right.
Because I would feel the nostalgia even more. So then I was like running through my mind. I was like, what if I don't know if I should get into this. This seems like a bad idea.
You shouldn't, because then you can't stop, and then you end up with like 400 tapes and shit, and nowhere to put them. And the market's getting out of control right now because people are starting to grade VHS tapes
shit.
and trying to sell them for thousands of dollars, and it's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
Do you have this movie on VHS by any chance?
I do somewhere, but it's not a good copy. It's like
Yeah.
really, really dark, so
Gotcha.
it's not the best. But yeah, directed by Steven Sommers, who I think he does a really good job directing action sequences and kind of this more adventure style of film, and especially paired with Jerry Goldsmith's music, I think it pairs super, super well together.
It vibes like The Mummy, where it's like everybody's doesn't take the like impending death seriously. It's like always time for quick witty jokes and stuff that keeps it really lighthearted and fun.
I think she broke my nose.
You give me a chance to break the rest of your face. Not that anyone would notice.
What is this about?
Yeah. And the film opens with you have like the monster vision
Yeah.
of the creature swimming along the bottom of the ocean, and you see like whale bones, whale carcasses, and like military ships, and then there's like an old Spanish galleon.
Yeah.
But I do love about this movie is they kind of follow the Jaws principle where you don't actually see the creature itself till probably like 45 minutes into the movie. I think it's 45 minutes.
And even then, it's just kind of the tentacle, which isn't the complete reveal of
Yeah,
what it
isn't
is.
the actual monster. But
Yeah, the way those tentacles behave throughout the movie are very convenient. Where it's just like, well, there's sort of like a pipe here or something. I guess it could come through.
it can fit through here, it can fit through there, it can fit through this oven hood, it can fit through anything.
Yeah.
It can fit through a toilet.
Fits through a toilet. Why not? Like that happened, and my wife was like, "How does it get through?" I'm like, she couldn't quite understand that like it's not a serious movie. I'm like,
No.
if you didn't pick up that this thing from the beginning is supposed to be cheesy fun, you're not supposed to think about it too much.
Do we switch to the
It's like-
mercenary ship first, or does the big boat stop first? I can't remember.
I think it's intermixed between both of those things.
They do go back
happening.
and forth quite a
They
bit.
they like efficiently set up all the characters pretty quickly in this movie. And it's like everything you need to know about who they all are. I like when Treat Williams is driving the boat in his chair and they're going over some chop, and then the bad guy comes in and stands behind him, and Treat Williams is like this in his chair, and the bad guy's just standing still. I was like, aren't we like, what's going on? Get that chair fixed or something. That like,
Right?
that was supposed to
Well,
be
it
the
looks
boat
like
was rocking.
it's like a video game chair
Yeah.
or something that responds to, because he's playing video poker while
Yeah.
he's supposed to be driving the boat. But yeah, we get introduced to everyone that's on the mercenary ship. We get introduced to him. We get introduced to the Asian chick. I can't remember her name. She's part of his crew. Layla is the
Layla.
character's name.
I wanted more of her.
I know they didn't really utilize her very much at all. I mean, she only had a couple scenes and then they just do away with her.
They do kind of, you know, it's not super misogynistic in this movie. Like it could, you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
moments where like Famke Janssen's kind of a badass. And that Layla character was set up as one at the beginning because she's like out there doing the actual like really
The
hard
actual work
and
in the
dangerous
rain
work.
and the chop, yeah.
And she has like a good like attitude and stuff, but then they don't use her character enough. They just kind of put her in the ship and leave her there, and she just is gone. It was
No,
a
I
waste.
think yeah, they could have done a lot more with her character, but because she's Pantucci's girlfriend also, and he's one of my favorite characters in the movie because
Oh my God,
he's
yeah,
just
he's funny.
hilarious,
He's funny, yeah.
and he ad-libbed a lot of his lines, like the can you just suddenly get asthma?
Really? That was the ad lib?
Can you just get asthma?
Yeah, I love that guy. I forgot he is in the Mummy too.
Yeah,
right?
he
Oh my
plays
God,
the
yeah.
he plays the comic relief sidekick in that one too.
I know him from what is that movie? One of my Lord of Illusions.
Yeah, Famke Janssen's in that one too.
Yes, she is. That's one of my. That's like a very underrated horror movie, I think. But
It is very much so.
You're not worthy, none of you.
But we get introduced to each one of his crew people, and we see that they've got missiles on board. We don't really know what they're going to be doing with it, and we just know they're bad dudes and they're up to something, but we don't know what yet. And that's another thing I like about this movie, and I like these kinds of movies where it's almost like one kind of movie interrupts another kind of movie.
yeah,
Because you have a monster film kind of interrupting this action heist film.
yeah, and that was. I'm gonna go back to the Army of Dead comparison because that's kind of what that movie did as well. I enjoyed that movie on some levels, but not nearly as much as something like this.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think of like what it is that's the difference here for me. Like it's not all nostalgia, I don't think.
No, I think it's because it knows exactly what it is and what it's going for. I kind of see
That's
it.
true.
I kind of see it as a rated R live action cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Like, because the Army of the Dead had those moments where it stopped and it's like, we're drama now for 4 minutes. I'm like, I don't need that in this.
Right.
And this movie was like kind of really well paced for the most part.
Yeah.
I think there's like a few sequences in the second act where they're running down what seems like the same hallways and it gets a little repetitive, just shooting at nothing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But besides that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only time it really slows down is after they swim through up to the cargo hatch or whatever, and they're in the galley, and he's telling the octopus story. That's really the only time
Oh, yeah,
that things
octopus
slow down at all.
And in less than 2 minutes, he got the cork off, slid inside, and ate the fish.
Other than that, I mean, it's just go, 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 go.
But even then, it was like, it wasn't like melodrama. It was like, let's
No.
learn about the monster, explain a little bit here. So it's just like exposition. Mm-hmm. And then it was over in like 3 minutes, and you got a cool kill sequence out of it. So
Very cool. The deaths in this are horrific.
I know
Horrific.
there's some like the CGI is of a time, but there's like this one scene where a guy like gets dropped out of the monster, half digested, and it looks pretty good.
It
Doesn't
does. He's missing like half of his head, and you can see his brain, and he lifts up his
Yeah.
hand, and you can see through it and see the bones and the tendons
cool.
and everything. No, it was super well done, and it's disgusting and freakish looking.
Yeah, all the like like digested skeletons, but are still like gory, and there's like a scene where they're like leaning against the wall, and it's just like this mush of like so gross.
And you can see there's like the skeletons on the floor, and they're like in mid
Yeah.
movement, and they still have kind of like eyeballs left a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just real. They're still juicy. Ugh.
Yes. At one point, they like lead them into like this big hangar area where there's like tons of them. I don't know if that was a miniature set or not. I kind of thought it was.
I couldn't tell.
Okay.
Because it does look like a miniature, but it could have been a little bit CGI here and there. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, because they said it's like the bow of the ship, probably like the cargo hold or something
Yeah.
like that. So they get aboard the ship finally, but first they hit the speedboat that fell off. So
How do you on the fucking ocean? That'd be
Yeah.
like flying through space and be like, oh shit, I hit another spaceship by accident. Like does that actually happen? I guess it does, but
I don't know. Well, I mean, usually ships that small aren't moving that fast. I wouldn't think out in the middle
Yeah.
of the ocean at night while it's raining.
yeah, is that I asked that too. So if this cruise ship was moving at full speed, could they actually catch it in a ship that small? Or do cruise ships not move that fast?
I don't know. I thought they moved
Yeah.
pretty freaking fast.
Yeah, I
But
thought
I mean,
they
it
did
just
too,
depends.
but I don't know.
But they do. I mean, it ends up where it's stopped because the monster stops it.
Yeah.
But the captain guy said that it wasn't supposed to stop, even after he melts all the systems, which are evidently controlled by CD-ROM. Back in the 90s, just
was
three little
cool.
CD-ROMs, you know. Oh my gosh.
It was good tech. I liked it. It was supposed to be like impressive, like futuristic technology.
Because it came out of the thing real slow, and you're like, ooh, what does that do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
For like whatever reason, like Alien is so analog when you watch it, but still seems more realistic than like a lot
Right?
of these like 90s and stuff movies. Where like, oh god, that was like, I guess because it was like such a quick time period where we moved past that or something maybe.
It was. Well, because technology just went forward at lightning
yeah.
speed from there. So everything just seems so quaint and dated.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was good. I like that. I love that technology. That's just the nostalgia though. That's those kind of things are what really work for me.
Right? Or where she's, because she gets caught, Famke Janssen gets caught breaking into the vault to steal a necklace, and they throw her in the freezer or something, which I don't know how they expected her to hang out in there for the rest of the trip. But to get out, she just takes her little key thing and just stabs it. She's like, eh. And miraculously, the door opens.
That's the fun adventure stuff. They point the God, I can't remember any of the characters' names in this movie. What's
Me
the
either.
actor from Hannibal Lecter guy?
Oh,
Anthony,
Anthony something. Harold.
Something like that. Anyways, his when he like introduces the ship as the owner and all that kind of crap, you're like, okay, he's probably like some corporate douchebag or whatever. But then when Famke Janssen gets caught, and is like the crew are like holding her, he like slaps her,
Yeah.
and that was
What
like,
the-
oh, that's very like, you painted his character very quickly as a scumbag.
Oh, yeah. You definitely got a sense of what kind of piece of crap he was.
I think it's because you're not very good at what you do.
Hey, steady on, Canton. No need for that.
Every character is like that. You know exactly who they are, what their motivations are, what they want, and what they're trying to do. But they're not super one-dimensional either.
Well, not all of them.
No.
Treat Williams is played up like the Han Solo thing, where he's like, yeah, he wants the money, but he also kind of has some morals, teases out of him. It's the same with Famke Janssen, because she's played up like she's all for herself, but then there's moments where she saves people and stuff like that.
And most of Wes Studi's henchmen, they're kind of one note. I mean, like one guy wants to sleep with with women from every single country. The other guy, he smokes a lot, and one guy's British. That's about the extent of their characters.
That's all I needed.
That's all you needed. But Wes Studi is kind of fleshed out since he's the leader. I mean, he's just kind of a prick though.
Yeah, and then they play up on that later in the movie in a really fun scene.
It works so well with him and Kevin O'Connor together in those scenes. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was funny. His comeuppance there.
No, he much deserved it. That's for sure.
You asshole!
The one thing that kind of throws me off in this film sometimes is just half the time I don't know where they are in the ship.
Yeah.
Or how big the ship is, because on the elevator it goes up to like 8 or 9 and then down to like sub 2. It's like, how fucking big is this ship? I mean, I know they're enormous, but it's just hard to, because the only big areas they go to are like the machine shop, the bay with the sea-doos, and then the big atrium.
Yeah. There's a lot of scenes going through hallways, and you're like, it's confusing. And Anthony Head or whatever is always like, you gotta go left, you gotta go right. I'm like, how would you know? Right. I get you like were the engine or like the mind behind this ship, but you wouldn't remember every little hallway and stuff like that.
No, not at all.
That's some of that stuff is where it got frustrating during the second act, where they're like being corralled into the bow of the ship, where like things are crashing. It's like, just go under it. We can clearly see you can go under it. Or like they're like, there's nowhere to go, but you could see like a stairwell on the right. You know, like, you could go up the stairs. I'm just saying.
Right.
Stuff like that. But the sets looked cool, and they always had the light up top shining down, and it was like, yeah, that's really pretty sweet.
And there's the scene where, and we kind of mentioned it before, where they have to swim underneath to go to the next section where they need to be. And wasn't there a similar scene like that in Alien Resurrection?
Oh yeah, that was where you learned that the aliens could swim.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm like, this seems familiar, and when did Alien Resurrection come out? I don't remember.
Or something like that.
So it was about the right time then? The same time?
Yeah, there was a lot of like in 97, so
97, so
there was so many of these. Well, I guess not so many, but I'm thinking of like Virus came out around this time, which is on a boat. You had Ghost Ship, which is like similar. Ghost Ship is probably the one that looks the best to me of the sets, maybe.
Yeah. Is that the
maybe
one?
Not. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Is that the one where it opens with the wire that goes through everybody?
Yeah, the opening is so goddamn good it outshines anything else.
Anything else in the movie.
Opening is amazing.
It is amazing. It is so good.
I like Virus too. It's not as fun as this movie. It's way more horror and gory, and
that's the one
fun.
with Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah. And
I remember I watched that when it first came out, but I have not revisited it.
You should watch it again, yeah. Donald Sutherland's in it. He becomes like a mech cyborg man.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I'm still your captain, Foster. You must treat me with respect.
That movie, I remember, not to go too off, but that was one that like was a little really gory for the time for me when I was young. I watched it again not too long ago. It wasn't as bad as I remember.
Yeah.
But it's not tongue-in-cheek like this.
No.
Yeah.
But some of the humor is just sometimes it feels out of place, but it's still super enjoyable. Like when they're in the elevator and the music comes on, and they're like, "What the hell is that?" And Kevin J. O'Connor's like, "That girl from Ipanema." And later on, he's singing, he's like humming it as they're walking through the different corridors.
What the hell is that?
Girl from Ipanema.
I feel like that's a joke that's been in so many movies nowadays. Not that song, but just going in the elevator.
They did it in Army of the Dead.
Oh yeah, there you go. Goddamn Army of the Dead constantly ripping off fucking Deep Rising.
Ripping off everybody.
Oh, scheiße.
I like that movie way less like as time has passed, and I didn't like it that much to begin with.
No, the more I think about it, I'm like,
yeah,
that was just kind of bad.
Yeah.
Damn. It wasn't that good. Ugh.
Oh, scheiße.
The different deaths. I mean, each person was dispatched pretty dynamically and pretty violently.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the guy who got spit out with a
Yes.
half a head. Jaimin Hansu got the axe to the face, which was very surprising. You had a British guy get eaten.
Do you remember that? Okay, so that scene, that guy gets the axe in the head,
Mm-hmm.
and it was done by Anthony Head, which is
Yeah.
And then later on in the movie, near the end, he has Famke Jensen with a flare gun to her head, and
Yeah.
he's like, "I've never killed anyone before," and I'm like, "Fucker, you just killed
You
someone
did,
like an hour
yeah.
ago, dude."
That's right. He did
I
just kill somebody.
I didn't remember that until you just said that. I was like, "Wait a second, like you're a liar."
I've never actually killed anybody before. Money, money, money.
The British guy who gets killed in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. They did that. They orchestrated that scene to try and throw you off a little bit because you see like, oh, he's standing there and everybody's looking up and you're like, well, he's dead. But he does turn the gun and shoots it and you're like, oh
Yep.
wow. But then he gets cocky. And then you're like, oh yeah, now he's definitely dead.
Yeah, you're so gonna die.
When I was watching that scene, there was like bread on a thing against the wall, and I was like, "Damn! If I was in there, I'd eat that bread." And Amy's like, "Famke Jensen is eating that bread."
She is. She's got like half a loaf, and she's just digging in.
She's probably
oh my
just
God.
bored on set.
Right? Well, I mean, a movie like this, you can do crazy stuff like that, and it fits. Like, especially all the extras at the beginning. Some of them behave super weird. Like, there's the two bartender ladies that like kiss each other.
Kissed, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I guess we really love working together.
Everyone drops what they're doing.
I was confused by the makeup of people because there was like all different kinds of influences there, but there was a ton of Asian people and like Asian culture, so I wasn't sure if it was supposed to. Like, I didn't understand what I
the
guess
style it was supposed to be.
Yeah, like, but then
the
there was
theme.
like, yeah, I was like, I don't know.
Well, because they had like it was a lot of Chinese influence with the drummers and the firecrackers, but then they had like Hawaiian dancers
Hawaiian people threw me off
and stuff. Yeah, it was a little mismatched there.
I like those scenes though where, and there's a lot of them where they're running down a hall and it's just like a tidal wave of tentacles behind them. Like they just keep reusing that like CGI.
They do,
effect,
they
don't
do. Like it just
But it
keeps
looks cool.
pouring
Yeah.
forward. It's a very cool effect. Well, then, and Rob Bottin did the creature design, which is awesome. And you can, like, before you actually see the monster itself, it does that thing where it's going underneath the flooring and it's popping up kind of
Oh,
like
like
it
the
does in
thing?
the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
So at one point they mentioned that like this is some sea creature and he named it and I don't remember what it was.
I'm beginning to fear that our friends here may be some kind of strange offshoot of the Archaeo Toya family.
Was
Yeah.
do you know if this was like, supposed to be like a real sea creature that they just blew up to
They're-
a huge size?
As far as the tentacle things and how it dispatches people where it'll grab them and like suck the juices out of them, there are creatures like that. They don't get nearly this big, but as far as some giant octopus with those kind of tentacles, no,
Not real.
no. And the design, there's also a worm that has like that
Yes.
predator mouth thing.
I think we looked at that before. at
Yeah,
one point,
yeah.
The sand striker, or bobbit worm, waits, bone-hard grappling hooks, poised to pierce and immobilize prey. And some specimens grow to twice the length of a man.
It's a
So
cool
I mean, there's,
idea though.
yeah,
to,
there's
like,
some
be-
credence to it.
to be digested while you're still alive. That's terrifying and cool.
Super terrifying. Whoa.
And that was the best death probably, with the main bad guy.
West Studi.
Yeah, being half in. Maybe it wasn't the best, but it was
I,
just the whole like.
it was the best. I
setup,
think it's the
yeah.
best death. But the whole setup where he shoots Joey in the leg,
What are we gonna beat him?
and then Joey finds him being half eaten, and he gives him the gun, and then what does this asshole do? He shoots at him,
Yep.
You asshole!
wastes his one bullet to kill this guy, and well, So he gets to be eaten
Yeah,
alive or
that
drank
moment
alive.
where he goes to shoot himself and doesn't have the bullet. It's like, yep. That Joey is like, I was worried. I mean, I had thought I had remembered he'd lived, but at one point I was like, wait, they don't kill him off. You can't kill him off. He's the most
No.
endearing one. He's always
Right?
like nice. He's always doing everything to help and like, yeah.
And he lost his girlfriend,
lost
but
his
he's still
girlfriend.
trying to make everything work. But
Yeah.
no, that sympathetic of a character you can't kill off, and that likable of a character you can't kill off.
Man, looks like somebody had themselves one hell of a shindig.
For people that don't like this film, because it's not, I mean, it has a 6.1 rating on IMDb, but like on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't put a lot of stock in anyways, it's pretty low rated. Especially the critics review, I think it's like 23%, and I think audience is maybe in the 40s. Do people just go into this expecting something different? And that's why they can't get on board with it?
I mean, running around with B. I mean, this isn't a B movie. This was like a blockbuster style movie. But what I struggle with a lot of times with people's opinions, where they think just because a movie is silly and not serious, or is a ridiculous idea, automatically means it's bad.
Yeah.
But it's not to me. It's the execution of that. And this movie is straight with you up front with what it is. It's straight that it is cheesy and campy and not serious, but it lives up to the expectation of being incredibly fun and delivering on its premise. You get the monsters, you get cool kills, you get fun characters, there's tons of action, there's explosions. I don't know what you want out of this movie that it doesn't give you, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of read through Roger Ebert's review of it because he fucking hated this movie.
He just doesn't like these kind of movies.
He doesn't like these kind of movies. And I saw some of the others that are on his most hated list. And I don't think, and I mean, there's some real fucking dogs on there. But I think something like this doesn't deserve to be on there because, like you said, I think it knows exactly what it is. And if you don't get on board with that right away, you're not going to enjoy it.
I mean, I'm not a big like blockbuster summer movie kind of guy. I'm trying to like look up like what else would also be. I think what works for me is the horror aspect and the gore and all that stuff, and I get into that. So that's why I probably really like this thing. So maybe that is the problem, is that it has that horror aspect. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. At least for the time, maybe. I don't know, because like
that could be. I mean, it's pretty gory and bloody. I mean, because like when that one guy gets pulled around in the machine shop and they're like the tentacles banging him up against pipes and stuff, and blood is just shooting all over the place.
Yeah,
it's a bit over the top, but for this kind of movie, it works.
I don't get it. I honestly don't get it, unless it's the Treat Williams factor, which I no, just kidding. I like the ending, man.
The ending is great.
Well, we can get into that stinger too that they have at the very end.
Yes,
But
no, he rigs the missile to blow up the ship, and they want to escape on a Sea-Doo. And that was probably I think it was the most ridiculous part of the movie, when they're like running on the Sea-Doo in the hallways and stuff, running from the monster, and he's shooting over his back, and she's cocking the gun over her shoulder and everything. But
shoot
it's
the
so
elevator
much
doors
fun.
open or whatever. Yeah.
Because that'll work, you know. You just shoot the panel and it opens for you.
Yeah, that was after the big reveal of the monster, which is mostly all CGI, except for when it's like close up and it shows you like some tentacles or whatever around him. But it doesn't look that bad for the time, I don't think.
It doesn't. And because I don't know, there's really only one shot in this film that I think looks bad, and that's when the giant monster explodes.
Yeah.
That part
turns into like weird chunks and stuff.
Yeah. That part looks bad, but the monster itself and the way that they reveal it, I think works pretty well. And it looks slightly dated,
Sure.
but not as dated as you would expect it to.
I'll have to go back and watch The Relic, because that has like a big monster at one point too, and this is like same time. I wonder if that CGI holds up as well.
There's a few shots that are a little questionable. One where it's on fire looks a little hokey, but that movie's so damn dark because especially in the theater, because they processed it darker than it was supposed to be, so you could barely see anything half the time.
They don't want you to really see Tom Sizemore.
Nope.
Which is a good choice.
It's a very good choice. Oh my god.
See him stumble
Lieutenant
around
D'Augusta.
in the dark.
Oh my god.
These guns these mercenaries use, are these real?
Did
your husband watch this thing?
Yes. The gun that they use, I can't remember what they called it. It was like the M1L1, some kind of bullshit. Let's see if I can find it here.
Like, I saw a comment, somebody said it was like, these are like guns from Duke Nukem, and I was like,
Yes.
yeah, they look like
They
they're from,
are
like,
a little
video
bit.
game.
Say hello to the Chinese M1L1 triple pulse assault rifle. Rotating barrels, 1,000 round capacity, auto cooling, watertight.
Oh, here it is. The Chinese M1L1 triple pulse assault rifles. They're actually modified Calico M960 submachine guns.
Is that why they sound like weird?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because
They're kind of cool, but
yeah, what they did was they fitted them with 100-round magazines, and then they built that what is it called? That rotating barrels,
like the Gatling
around the natural
thing, yeah.
barrel, yeah. And those spin when they fire them, but if you watch it closely, no bullets come out of those smaller barrels. It all comes from the natural barrel in the middle. But it looks cool as shit.
does look cool. Yeah, and they sound cool.
It sounds great. The gunshots are good, and it's funny when they first fire them because the firecrackers go off, and then they stop
start
and
shooting
they just
them.
look at each other like, "Fuck yeah, this is awesome!" And they just keep shooting for fun. But that adds to
ending-
the fun, having the
it-
BFGs.
Yeah, definitely. That ending where they're riding around on the jet ski and stuff, it is silly, but like, it does have to ramp up in some ways.
Yeah.
So
They got to keep pushing it more
yeah.
and more.
And then you get
So.
that iconic shot, which I think is what was on the VHS cover of Treat Williams and Famke Jensen flying out of the ship as it blows up. It's
Yes,
cool.
that's a very that's probably the most iconic shot of the movie.
And they blew the fuck out of this miniature boat.
Yeah,
and
they
it was
did.
Awesome. It looked cool.
No, that is
great.
it was pretty amazing explosion.
They also when the big monster was like blowing up and stuff, or before that when he was shooting at it and it was angry, it was like destroying that big atrium area. Mm-hmm. I have to think that was miniature work as well. If it wasn't, I don't know, it looked really good.
They did use quite a bit of miniatures in this, but no, because that's after he shoots him in the eye, right?
Yeah,
That was pretty cool.
that was awesome.
I say that about a lot of stuff in this movie. Just it was
know.
cool and it was awesome
It's
because
so fun, yeah.
that's the point.
And then the ending, they make it to that island, and you hear this big other monster, and they pan out, and there's just stuff. It's like Skull Island or something.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was planned that there was going to be a sequel that was going to be a King Kong reboot, that they actually landed on Skull Island. That was the plan. And then I think because of, I can't remember if it was something with the Godzilla movie with Matthew Broderick, that they decided to scrap it or something like that. I'm not sure.
Or maybe it was because this movie cost $45 million and it
That
made
could be
11 million.
it
or
too.
something. We're not making another one.
We're
of
not
these.
doing that. This cost us so much money because this was put out by Disney.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not on Disney Plus. It should be. I'll
No,
tell you that
it
right
should
now.
be. Well, and I saw something where the director mentioned that some of the footage of the hallways was used in another film,
I think I saw
And
that
he's
too,
like,
yeah.
how did that happen? And he just assumed that Disney was just trying to recoup some of the money they lost.
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. But I mean, because I mean, it's out on streaming. You can rent it on Prime and everything. You'd think they'd have to, and it's becoming more and more of a cult film. Just in the past year or so,
Yeah.
I've seen it pop up so much. So they've got to be getting some financial benefit from it. I mean, probably not in the millions to get to that $45 million mark,
No.
but it's got to be bringing in something.
No, Deep Blue Sea has had a resurgence with like made for sci-fi movies, so
Yeah.
maybe someday you'll see a Deep Rising 2 on Sci-Fi Channel. You know what I
It's
mean?
possible. It's
If they
possible.
did it, it would be super low budget, right? They're not
Yeah.
gonna, yeah, this is definitely of a time.
Mm-hmm.
A great time, as far as I'm concerned.
A very good time. But they kind of make movies like this still.
Yeah, sort of.
But they, I don't know. They're not as charming or entertaining, in my opinion. I'm trying to think of something that's come out recently to compare it to, and I can't think of anything.
That's why I just keep saying Army of the Dead.
Oh, scheiße.
And
Yeah.
it's like, maybe it's because we're old.
It could
Like,
be.
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, and that's why I'm like, is this just because of the nostalgia, or is it just a better made film? And I think it's probably both of those things.
Yeah, I think so too. But, I mean, it's a movie that doesn't waste time. It's not boring.
Yeah.
It's not overlong. It doesn't have some stupid human relationship element forced into it. You don't have any of those stupid saccharine moments that a lot of directors push into these kind of films.
You're right. I think that's kind of the like, yeah, it feels like with the like Zack Snyder type thing. Like, there's a checklist. We have to have all these things. Like the studio says we have to have these things. Fuck that. You don't need all that shit.
Right?
Because you're not spending enough time to really make any of that stuff work. This movie
No.
spends all of its time doing like these three things that you want, and it's like perfect.
Right?
It's not
Just-
scary though.
It isn't scary. And it's more, and I wouldn't say it's shocking or anything, but it's more just kind of gross at some points.
Yeah.
And that's about as far as they push it. Gross and bloody, and that's about it. But I don't think anyone would be scared by
No.
it.
Like when I watched The Relic back in the day, when I was a little scared at moments.
Well, that
Event
one,
Horizon and stuff, that was scary.
yeah. Well, those movies had a lot more atmosphere to them.
Yeah,
I would say, and they're a little more seriously toned of a film. But
It didn't have like a Godsmack song at the end.
It
in the
didn't.
credits. I was like, come on, give me like some Mudvayne or Corn or some
If
shit.
it would have came out like in '99 or 2000, it definitely would have.
Yeah, that's true. It's too. This was like, nah, we got like a real classical score here by
Right,
David Goldsmith.
and that I think that elevates it even more.
Oh, yeah,
that
it
it's got
definitely
that
elevates it.
Yes, it's got that great action adventure score to go along with it.
I mean, it's no Alone in the Dark, but
No, it's
that's
not.
neither here nor there.
But yeah, the creatures in that reminded me of the creature in The Relic.
Yeah,
They kind of had
definitely.
the same movement a bit
Definitely.
and kind of looked the same, the Kathoga,
Yeah.
but just dumber.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Opening weekend, $4.8 million.
Yeah.
Damn, that's bad.
But everybody was going to see Titanic like 12 fucking times.
See,
It just got buried.
it was probably like a roll of the dice where it's like, well, boats are really hot right now.
Right?
Oh,
Well, the
actually, just the Titanic is.
Well, I think once after the opening weekend and they saw how poorly it did, they kind of tried to make it like the anti-Titanic.
Deep Rising.
Titanic was like, it's one of those movies that's just, you know, once in a lifetime kind of, not in once in a lifetime, but you know, one of these monumental random
Yeah.
things that happens where it's just like bam.
Yeah.
And there was no competing with it, no matter what. It was like Avatar at the time. It was just whatever fucking James Cameron shits out is like, you better watch out. You know what I mean?
Right?
I'm the king of the world!
But we'll see. I'm guessing Avatar. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm guessing I can't imagine the Avatar movies will, unless they're like really amazing, which they could be because
They could be. I
James
mean,
Cameron, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he created new cameras and stuff, and they shot a
Yeah.
majority of it underwater and shit.
That's the thing. It's always the technology with him.
Yeah.
Good old Treat Williams. I did like Famke Janssen wearing that red tight dress at the beginning, and they're like, oh my god, she's gonna go through this whole movie with this fucking thing on. It's so uncomfortable.
Right.
And then they do like have her change into something comfortable.
I'm glad they did that.
Yeah.
Because I would have made it just
I was
a
like,
little bit more ridiculous.
come on, Treat, put on the red tight dress, Treat. See them curves. I did see Stephen Sommers' last movie he made, Odd Thomas, which I thought was all right, if I recall.
Yeah.
It had Anton Yelchin in it before he died.
Huh.
Obviously,
I
they're not going
haven't
to put him
seen
in
it.
after he died. Like, they're not going to.
Yeah.
His corpse is not in it.
It's a
That'd be weird.
hologram.
It's a hologram. But he has a new movie coming out called When Worlds Collide.
Oh,
And this sounds like a bigger budget thing.
really?
Some sci-fi planet collision with Earth and blah blah blah. So who knows? Yeah, Deep Rising,
Deep Rising, great movie. But
best boat movie.
I don't know. Spiders 2 is pretty fucking awesome.
Fuck. I don't remember. I don't think I've seen it. I know I've seen the first one.
It's got Bull from Night Court.
I do like that.
Plays an evil scientist. It's a piece of crap, but it's
Fun.
it's very entertaining.
Spiders are carnivores.
It's a pretty good bad movie.
We haven't seen a lot of cruise ship horror movies recently. There's
Although
something
just
there.
for me, just the thought of being on a cruise ship is kind
It's
of
horrific enough.
horrific.
They don't sink that often though anymore.
No, only if like because what was the one over in Europe that sank because
He ran into their shore. Or
he came too close to the island, because usually they do like a drive-by or something, but he went too far in and hit a reef.
Oh shit!
And then he abandoned ship before everybody else did, and then he like got arrested, and they're like, "You have to go back," and he's like, "Fuck that." Yeah, he got in a lot of trouble.
He's like, I'm out.
I'm out. Bye. All you fuckers are on your own.
What? Did it sink though, or did it just get stuck?
It's sunk,
shit.
and then it like keeled over on its side or something like that. Yeah.
Oh man, those things can't be cheap either.
No. And there was
Well,
a
he
lot
said-
of people on board.
What did he say in the movie? It was like $500 million or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
487. It was right around $500 million.
Yeah, that whole plot line where he's like trying to have the ship sank to collect the insurance on it because he's actually not making enough money from the rich people to sustain the cost of the ship was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's saying anything, but it's just weird.
Well, it's another plus. It's good writing where, you know, you have these secondary plots going on.
Yeah.
And then monsters happen. Oh no. It makes it more dense and more rich and more enjoyable, because it's not just like a dumb slasher movie where there's vapid teenagers just getting killed, you know. There's an actual storyline underneath what's going on. Well, that is going to do it for the first episode of I Love This Movie. I don't know if that's what we're going to call it going forward. That's just what I have for now. We'll see what I call it on the second episode.
Depends on what movie it is.
It depends on what movie it is. But Chris, thank you so much for joining me. And you can catch him on Bad Movie Night YouTube channel. We do the podcast live every Monday at 7:30 Central, 8:30, whatever time zone you're in. I don't remember. Eastern Standard Time, 8:30. And they do tons of other videos and tons of other movies and content over on that channel, so make sure you check that out. But this is gonna do it for this video, so we'll check you next time. Bye.